Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome back to our weekly life webinar. Obviously, we've taken a little bit of time off, so we definitely want to revisit. Hope you guys are all having a great summer. So I definitely want to dive into something a little bit different. Of course, we usually have individuals on, our carrier reps on, speaking about their products, things like that. I think we've done a really good job of bringing a lot of those products to you guys and explaining what that looks like. So we always want to make sure that we're revisiting make sure everything. All right, we're good. We always want to make sure we're revisiting because, of course, what we do is we're constantly bringing agents in. We're constantly having agents that are new. Some of you guys, of course, when you've been in the game, you know that you have downlines, things like that. So we want to always make sure that we're revisiting, touching on those bases. Obviously, we know AAP is coming up. There's obviously some compliance things we want to make sure we're touching on. Make sure you guys are ready to go. We're T minus. I'm the life guy, so sometimes I don't remember exactly the dates, but T minus a couple months or something like that, right? So we definitely want to make sure we're just diving back into it, giving that quick refresher. Always appreciate you guys tuning in. I see a lot of you guys coming on right now. I'm absolutely excited to just be back. Of course, all we do, well, not all we do, but a lot of what we do is talk all day as agents, as what we do as marketers as well. So definitely want to make sure we're having those conversations and kind of tuning back into, what the bases are and why we're here. And again, guys, there's a lot of new agents that are coming in. There's a lot of ways to just kind of plug some new things in, revisit that stuff. So want to dive into that. So I hope you guys are excited about it and ready to go. So again, thank you for attending. Thank you for taking that time out. And let's get into it. So of course you can see how to sell life and final expense. Of course, life entails a lot, and final expense is very kind of honed in, right? Because I feel like a lot of agents now, that's kind of where they start on the life side. They're usually kind of transition if they're on the health side, right? They're talking to individuals that are a little bit older, things like that. So we definitely want to make sure we're talking about the final expense in particular and just life all the way around. So there's a lot of products that go in there. Of course, a lot of you guys, we talk about it all the time. My slide, go, there we are. So staying compliant, right? It's the most important thing. So it's the first slide we're going to jump out on. Obviously, with everything coming up, we just want to make sure we're taking care of those things. So can I market non-healthcare related products such as annuities and life insurance during PDP appointments? No. You need to schedule a new appointment at least 48 hours later, right? So you have to have some type of appointment scheduled later on. It's one of those things. It's great to put the word out there, right? Obviously, I can handle the life, health, blah 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 blah. Putting it out there, letting them know that it's something you handle, it's something you can help them out with, it's something you can help their family out with, right? Always make sure they know as the client that you can reach out to a lot of individuals. You've got a team behind you that can really make sure that we can make sure we have something for every single individual. Obviously, in the family, the friends, circle, work life, all that good stuff. But it's all about staying compliant when you're doing those things. So always make sure that you're doing that. Because I mean, listen, we'll be there for you. We're going to help you out and make sure we can do whatever we can, right? But at the same time, this is one of those things where even it's just kind of you got to do it, right? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So just make sure you stay compliant so that you do have those opportunities. You can help those individuals out. Agenda type of life insurance, final expense, why sell, becoming ready to sell, clients assessment, meetings, follow up, why write with Eldercare, right? So all of these things we'll cover. Again, these are all very important things to us, very important things to you guys as well when it comes to writing business. One of the things that I like about this whole premise, right, and what we do is a follow up. I think it's very important. So obviously, we're going to dive into some of those tools and softwares that is going to allow you to follow up seamlessly. Types of life insurance or types of final expense insurance. So we have our guaranteed issue, right? No questions. Graded, it's going to be a step kind of insurance. Modified benefits for accidental death, no waiting period, full death benefit, benefit with no accidental death, waiting period, death benefit is equal to the return of premium plus interest percentage declared at the policy issue. So this is one of those things where if, of course, they're going to go to the guaranteed issue side, they're going to go to the modified side, they're going to be given back whatever they have paid in plus 10%, right? So if it's one of those things where an individual doesn't make it the 2 years, this is where this is kind of going into place, right? It's telling you what it looks like if that person was to pass away prior, right, to them completing those 2 years. So there's that. The level preferred standard. This is what a lot of us are kind of playing on. We're making sure that those guys are preferred or standard, right? There's also something out there, again, guys, where you have your substandard. That's also looking at a first day option. If you dealt with combined or the generational life, anything like that, you've definitely seen it. But it is one of those things, like I said, again, a lot of individuals are going to be dealing with prospects or clients that are going to be on that level preferred standard rating side. And then again, all these are there. We have all those carriers to be able to accommodate that. And a lot of these carriers, again, since we're going to go back a little bit, right, and talk about that first step, a lot of these carriers are going to have this within the one product, right? So you're going to sell generational life, and it's going to have a preferred, standard, substandard, as well as a graded. But then on some of these other ones, right, on the guaranteed issue, obviously that's a whole different story. But that's the natural transition if they can't qualify for a level, modified, graded, so forth and so on. But it is one of those things where, again, if you're having that conversation with our team, your team, right, the back office side of it, then we're going to make sure you know exactly what that policy is and where they stand before you ever speak with them. So this goes a little bit more in detail about the whole life side of the business. I like to always talk about the whole life side, and a lot of times new agents will hear individuals say, I guess the best way to say it is final expense, right? It's all the same, right? Final expense and whole life, it's all within the same realm. People look at it different because final expense usually is topped out at a certain amount. You usually look into, I would just say max, maybe 25 to maybe 50,000. There are some guys that go 35, 40, so forth and so on. So, but anytime you hear them say final expense, right, they're just talking about whole life, just a smaller policy, and it's really meant to take care of those final expenses. That's why it's referred to as final expense. Whole life is, of course, referred. I probably could read that, but if you've been here a while, you know that I'm a stutterer when it comes to reading. It's not I don't know what I'm doing. It's just I stutter sometimes. So, but I'm really good at just kind of explaining and paraphrasing where someone understands. But the point of the matter is whole life and final expense are the same thing. They're under the same umbrella. So just always keep that in mind. If you do hear that, just know that final expense is used for final expenses. So it's going to be a lower policy, and your whole life policy is going to be used for individuals. Let's just take myself, for example. I'm 33. It's going to be used for someone like me that maybe wants a bigger face amount because they're looking to build over the next years. I won't say couple years, right? Be around for a while. Term. So term is going to be used for, again, I'm going to take myself as an example. I'm 33 years old. I've got a lot going on right now. There's bills, there's things like that. There's things that have to be taken care of. If there was something was to happen to me, I would obviously want my family to be able to first grieve, right? That's very important when we talk about just the whole premise of why we're selling life insurance, right? It's to take care of individuals in a lot of different points of their life. It's not just for the final expenses, right? When something happens. So term is going to be used for individuals that maybe are younger, maybe a little bit older, but it definitely want to top out when they get a little bit older, because you're getting to that point where it's like, hey, the risk is there, right? They're 70 years old. It's really hard to say, something couldn't happen, right? As you get older, things are just happening, right? You may be walking down the stairs and something fall, and it's way worse than when you're 30 years old versus 70. We all know that. But this is kind of where term falls into place, right? It's for some younger individuals where they need a term of product or a space, right? 20, 10, 15, 30 years. When we talk about having some type of payment, right? Or a loan, I guess, homes, boats, things like that, assets of that nature. Big things, higher face amount, lower premium, right? So they're not paying as much for it. Universal life, we hear a lot about that. So definitely jump into that a little bit more. Universal life is very, very, very popular right now. It's one of those things you hear people talk about, the generational life, bring wealth, all these different things. That's universal life, right? So there's the index side, there's all these different sides to it. But what you're mostly are going to hear as a life agent, it's just universal life. So you have to kind of depict what that means, right? What that person's talking about. So again, having those conversations, digging into what they're really looking at, because they may just need a term. Obviously, universal life is really good, but sometimes it doesn't necessarily work for everybody. Maybe it doesn't cost maybe the cost is a little bit off. Maybe there's something else going on. Who knows, right? not really sure. I keep looking at this board instead of the camera. But universal life is one of those things, like I said, again, it's very popular. You're hearing it everywhere, all over the socials. Essentially, what it is having a policy that's very similar to kind of a whole life, but you're able to contribute and it builds and builds and builds a lot quicker. So usually you're trying to access that or trying to teach individuals when you're talking to them or as an agent to understand that 10-year mark is really where things are going to be building and really coming together for them. So universal life is really, really good for a younger individual that maybe is looking to build, a younger individual that can contribute to the policy and allow them to build that policy a little bit bigger and better for what they're looking for, right? So down the road, they can actually borrow from that policy. And that's where you get that whole premise of kind of, I hate to say it, but it's the infant banking that people are talking about. That's kind of where it builds from. Obviously, there's a lot more in detail, and we can go into that. So having those conversations, I just don't want to get too deep into it because, again, this is kind of the premise of talking about what these are about and realistically where you're going to hear these situations and what these situations are going to be. So a lot of times you're going to hear people say infinite banking. I want to be able to create generational wealth, things like that. And they're usually talking about universal life. Now, as they get a little bit older and they've established themselves and maybe they're trying to consolidate and trying to figure out where to put everything, right? We're talking more so about an annuity. So usually you're looking at annuities to be somewhere where individuals they're established, they have what they need. They've done the years, they've kind of committed their time. They're probably now edging towards retirement, if not retired. Which I will say this, though, I will add this in. You see a lot of individuals nowadays that surprisingly, they not surprisingly, as time goes on, people are now understanding what this is all about, how this works. There's videos, there's all these things. So sometimes it's almost as if you are the professional, but it's almost as if they know a little bit more, right? Because they've been watching these videos and just completely diving in it. So as we talk about these products too, you probably have talked to someone where you're almost categorizing where they should be, right? Or where they would fit in because you weren't quite sure what they needed, what they wanted, as far as the price range, as far as what the face amounts they were looking for, what the features were, what they wanted it to do. But again, most of the time you're going to deal with that final expense whole life side of the business, but you will run into these as you start doing more business, as you're asking for referrals, as you're going around town, right? Getting your name out there, you're probably going to stumble into that. And of course, we're going to jump in that. But a lot of times, all you want to do is kind of have that conversation with us. But again, annuities, don't be afraid of them because again, we've developed systems and all these different things to get you to where it's very simplified. So don't be afraid of that business. But that business is normally going to be individuals that are a little bit older, ready for retirement. They're looking to store a lot of money somewhere, a good amount of money somewhere. So it has to be there's a suitability factor to it. Let me just say that. So you have to actually qualify in a sense for these products, right? So annuities are really great. They pay really well. So if you run into something like that, have that conversation with me. I'm more than happy to get you in contact with somebody. Or of course, we can have that conversation ourselves and I can figure it out in the back end. So however you want to do it, we can definitely help you out with all of the products. But again, don't be afraid of annuities because it is one of those things when you hear them, you're like, not really sure if I can do it. We can do it. Don't let it get the best of you. Just keep it rolling. So whole life insurance protects you for your whole life. So it's really funny because again, I probably jumped the gun in explaining all this, but benefits of whole life. Premiums will increase. Premiums will never increase, right? Complete opposite. Face amount will never decrease. Bills, cash value, and policy loans privileges, right? So again, you're locked in, you get it younger, right? You're healthy when you're younger. It's just one of those things. Things happen. Like I said, again, if you were to fall down a set of stairs, right? I maybe get a bruise, someone that's maybe 75 years old, they're probably going to hurt themselves really bad, right? So getting something early on locks them in. So again, that's one of the really good things. You don't have to go through underwriting. That's why I was saying that. But the premiums will never increase, face amount will never decrease, and bills cash value and policy loans. So you can borrow from that policy after so long after it's built up. So you will hear a lot of people. I just got the phone, a young lady, and we were talking about an individual that wanted a whole life policy. But the reality of it is, I think she's more suitable for a universal life policy, right? She's younger, she can contribute, she can get a little bit bigger face amount. The face amount will be a little bit lower. So the cool thing about that is these whole life and universal life kind of mix together sometimes. So that's where it's having a conversation and just really kind of digging into what they truly need. So this is a really, really, really good piece, and this is what you're going to see a lot of this whole life. Why sell? I can't see the sets of it down. There it is. Why sell? All right. So serving the underserved and gaining the clients for life. So big point, right? Educating individuals that haven't been educated, that doesn't know how to use insurance, that doesn't know how insurance that works for them, how insurance can be useful for them down the road. I think that's very important. A lot of people don't think about that. Heck, I didn't think about that before I started doing this. It's definitely opened my eyes up to seeing individuals and understanding, like, man, how did that happen for them? So insurance is a really good thing, and you can utilize it, right? Not just for end of life, but while you're here. So education on the product they are guaranteed to use, earn extra income. We just talked about that a little bit. In 2014, the life insurance industry saw a record 15.9 billion in annualized premium. So 2024, we're in 2025. Hadn't been that long ago. There's a lot on the table. $15.9 billion in annualized premium. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of policies, but still a lot of money when you hear billion. Average commission $600 per sale. So that's a big thing. We obviously talk about commissions. We'll have that conversation. Quick approval and fast pay, retention increasing. So it's a very good thing, right? So all they're simply saying is like this industry's growing. So don't be afraid to jump in if you're on the health side. Obviously, you're here. So first and foremost, we know you're already taking it serious, right? But if you're on the health side, transitional life, if you're just starting out on life, whatever it may be, I think one of the big things for me is why sell it. That's exactly why. $15.9 billion in premium. There's not much else you should say to an agent, right, to get them in. Helping your clients with just their Medicare plan is not enough, right? It's definitely not enough. 100% of Americans will die. That's a guarantee. If you're not assisting your clients with final expense, life insurance coverage, someone else is, or even worse, no one is, right? So it's always very important. It's always like I've always said, it's like we've heard many times in here, right? It's no one's ever going to tell you, no, get out of my house. I don't want to buy final expense, right? You're already there to sell them health, right? It's just having a conversation, throwing it out there. Again, I think I probably stepped on my foot by saying that, but you know what I'm saying, right? It's no one's going to be upset for you trying to help them. They may even be more upset, right? And I can almost guarantee you they would be more upset if they knew that you sold something that they were looking for and they had to go elsewhere and deal with someone else. Like, no one wants to do that. I mean, I barely want to jump from Walmart to Kroger to get certain things. Like, I'm probably going to just stay right here and just get it all in one place because I don't want to run around. It's about convenience, right? So that's all they're simply saying. Your clients have other needs that need to be addressed, and planning for their future will bring them peace of mind. So I'm excited, but I am reading ahead. But one of the things is right, it's just being able to build a whole home and um, um, uh, being there for them when they need what they need, right? If they're talking about insurance, or I want to talk about everything. They just don't know how to talk about it. So having conversation is a really good way. How to sell life and final expense, becoming ready to sell, right? So having those conversations with us, making sure that you know that we have all these options, decide why life license requirement vary by state, which again, we have a great licensing team. They'll pretty much help you with anything you need. Or they'll give us the answers and we'll tell you, right? Because they're always pretty busy. AML training, CE credits required by many states. E&O is offered by EIS or by us. Right there. Choose your carriers, build your toolbox, come up with the process, so I like that. The last point, I almost started thinking before I actually was going to say what I was going to say, but it's really important that you guys always make sure you figure out what works for you. There's so much stuff out there. Like, I would honestly say a lot of the stuff that I don't use, right? But there's a lot of things that if you just utilize them and you fold them into your day to day, you'll get there, and you'll honestly be probably kicking yourself in the booty to thinking like, well, why did I not do this before? It's one of those things. We've all been there. So don't be afraid to kind of set it up. And we're going to kind of go into the final expense toolbox and what it looks like. So low premium policies, high premium policies, single premium policies, multi-year premium policies. So all we're simply saying is you want to have an option for everybody, right? There's no reason why, I look at my board sometime and I've got all of these, what am I looking for? All of these carriers. And I think to myself sometimes, I use that many carriers. Just use them, right? But every one of them have a place, and that you can utilize them for so many different things. So there's never a time where you should say, oh, I don't want to deal with them, or oh, I don't want to use them, right? There's always a reason why you can. Maybe we find someone that matches up, maybe whatever the case may be, but it's very important to always have all of these options in there, because if you don't, you miss out. Nobody likes to miss out. Big name carriers, small name carriers, national carriers, local carriers, everybody, right? Always make sure that you're able to appeal to everyone that you're looking at, right? Because a lot of times those people, again, they just want to do everything in either one place, but you always want to make sure that they know that, hey, I can get you fixed up with that, or I can get you that. Just give me a little bit of time, or maybe we set another appointment, or whatever the case may be. You always want to make sure that they know that you have everything. You're supposed to be the insurance agent, so don't miss out on those opportunities. Coverage amounts 25K and less. Coverage amounts between 25K and 50,000. Coverage amounts between 50,000 or 50,000 and above. We've got all that. We could always break that down, right? What that looks like, who does what, this, that, and the other. But just making sure that you have them is very important. Policies with no underwriting, policies with simplified underwriting, right? So I'm big on this. I personally believe that once you step foot into someone's home, when you're talking to them, a lot of times you have to figure out who that person is. And a lot of times nobody wants to do anything when it comes to physicals and the medical underwriting and all these different things, right? Everybody wants something that is simplified and easy. So it's very important to have these things on there. Now, the other stuff will work for you. There's a lot of times where I've used it and I thought, man, I could have went the other route, but it worked a lot better for this individual over here. So sometimes it works better for just the agent all the way around, because it just simplifies everything. And if it makes it easy for you, it makes it easy for your client as well. Don't miss your opportunities. Many agents miss the boat on these opportunities due to a few reasons, right? So we're going to eliminate those, or at least try our best to show you how to eliminate those. They didn't know that they could offer final expense and life insurance. If you're on here, you definitely know. They never had a discussion with their clients about the end of life expenses. So again, that's simply just having a conversation where it's like, hey, what are your plans for this, or what do you have planned for making sure? Let me see the best way I've always looked at this. So, hey, have you looked at what it looks like for your funeral, things like that? Like, this is inevitable. It's going to happen. I just want to be there to help you out. Maybe somebody has a much better way of saying that. And if you do, you can comment and I'll tell everybody. Use Life Center contact platform to keep track of your clients and be prepared for every meeting, right? So it's very important. Again, for the tools that we have, they're absolutely free once you're a part of Integrity or part of Eldercare, right? In our business, you're under the umbrella. You can use the Life Center. You can use the Lead Center. You can incorporate all these things together. I'm going to say Medicare Center or Health Center, I think is what we're looking at it as now. But you can incorporate all of these things. So if you are with us and you're not using that, listen, I'm just going to tell you right now, you're missing the boat, right? Because at the end of the day, if you tell me I can make something, if you tell me I can simplify something for myself, I'm going to do it. Like I'm going to find out a way to simplify things. So why not, right? You have your quoting engine, you have your CRM system, you have a lead system in there. Everybody wants to be able to get a notification on this phone, right? Everybody wants to be able to say, oh, okay, cool, I got to go meet with this person, or hey, I need to make sure I call this person and tell them happy birthday. I mean, Facebook does it for you. Facebook does it for you. So allow a platform that literally will allow you to take care of your business and create that, I would say, in my mind, the environment to make people calm or comfortable to talk with you. Because if they need something, or maybe they're talking to a friend, or whatever the case may be, hey, let me call my guy, right? Everybody's got a guy, right? For plumbing, insurance, whatever it may be. If you're their guy, it's really cool to be able to follow up with them every now and again and help them out. So to brief right through this, guys. So on the Life Center, you guys have seen this. If you haven't seen this, definitely check it out. It's one of those things I was just talking about. You're able to follow up with your clients, simplify clients' policy management, streamline process for coding application, call recording storage, Ask Integrity. That's super cool. It's pretty much like Siri or Google. Be disrespectful to the Android people. Lead Center integration, personal agent website with profile link. That's a really cool thing as well. Again, just another thing to add on as a new agent, and I'm going to bring this back a little bit as to why we're doing this. As a new agent, you want to simplify this stuff early. I deal with so many people every day that they didn't set it up. And because they didn't set it up, it ends up being this thing where then they have to try to incorporate it into what they're doing. And we all know we're creatures of habit. So if you know that if you get going a certain way, right, and you're utilizing something and it works for you, great. But don't be afraid to utilize this and put this somewhere, right, on your screen, on a tab, where every now and again, just go click on it, right? Go plug a couple people in, see how it's used, utilize it on your family, right? Put somebody in that you want to, see if it works, right? Utilize for a birthday. Oh, I missed one. Two for personal agent website. So this is a really good thing. So again, utilize that, plug it in. But personal agent website, this is a really cool deal. It's free of cost. Again, it's one of those things where if you're part of the family, right, if you're part of Integrity, if you're part of Eldercare, then hey, you've got access to this, and we can have a conversation about it. I know we've went over it before, so I won't go super in detail. I probably should go into detail about a lot of this stuff because I know we have. Just go check out the personal website. Obviously, you can talk to Ms. Adrian, myself. I can get you guys to them about the personal website. But then also, I think there's been some webinars that have been done on it as well. How to start the conversation. So point out the elephant in the room, address the personal approach, build a rapport. So all the things that, right, we all know, but it's very important to remind each other. So all of these things, right, build a rapport, sharing a personal story they can relate to. Hey, listen, my mom passed away when I was 11, so I definitely understand when we talk about having someone that passed away in your family and having to deal with that grieving, whatever it may be, right? We're all here to understand people. And that may, in my mind, look a little different than what it looks like for you, but always want to build rapport and relate to those people. You're human too. You drove up, you woke up just the way they did, right? Client needs assessment, personal information, insurance information, investment information, health information. So all of these things are important for you creating a solution for these individuals. So don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to dive in a little bit. Obviously, you want to kind of gauge the crowd, figure out who you're talking to. Some people you probably can't just roll right into it. Some people you probably could. So don't be afraid to do that, guys. We also have, I don't think it popped up, but I'm going to go back really fast. Legacy Safeguard that really helps you dive into that. We've talked about it. I'm not 100% sure if there's a full webinar on it. I think there is, but nevertheless, that's a product or a program. Well, there's a program that really helps you out. So Legacy Safeguard could help you out with that. If you need more information, obviously, let me know. Consider the following alternatives ideas for sales, right? For healthy clients on a budget, consider simplified issue traditional life instead of a final expense policy. So again, if you called me and said, hey, Brent, I've got a very healthy person, the first thing I'm doing is going to simplify the issue. I mean, it is what it is, right? If I have someone that maybe has some issues, I'm probably going to try to go simplify the issue. I'm going to try to simplify this process for you, your client, and everyone involved, right? We want to make it simple. Sometimes there's needs for other products, but simplified issue pretty much works for everything. Discuss the living benefits that many final expense policies now offer. So again, we're talking about a lot of those living benefits, the terminal illness, the chronic illness rider, the term riders, things like that, spouse, children. Never forget about the children. Everybody's got Rugrats somewhere. So it's one of those big things. Just make sure you're talking about that. Let's see here. Let's go into the next one. So wrapping up. All right, let's see. Ask which of the three options would be the most comfortable for you. So this is if you're in front of a client. So don't be afraid to ask those questions. Give three prices. Maybe you guys have talked about term and whole life and maybe a UL. Like maybe you've talked about a lot of this stuff, and now it's time to kind of rein it back in and say, but hey, listen, based on what we've talked about and this product, all of them can help you right now. Which one fits better than maybe what you're looking for based on what we know. I'm a talker, so sometimes I'll over talk stuff. It's just how I am. But you guys out there, everyone's different. So you guys probably are way more smooth sometimes about it. You guys probably know some different ways of doing that. I'll make sure I don't forget anything. Close the conversation. Always thank them for their business. Provide clear expectations for the next step. Always make sure they know what to expect when you leave, right? Whatever conversation it may be, make sure they know. Or anything they need to do, or something coming in the mail, or hey, plug their number in. Hey, I'm gonna give you a call in a couple of days. I'm gonna follow up with you. We'll talk about the next steps. Or hey, or set the expectation, whatever it may be, right? Make sure they know what they need to do before you leave. Use Life Center, send thank you emails and texts and resources that they can learn more about the products you offer. If they have questions, set a reminder to call them and check in with them on the policies. Um, have a conversation, man. Talk to them. People like to talk. Just check up on them, you know. Make sure that their policy's good. Make sure some people file those policies and never see them again. So it's always really good when you remind them, hey, remember, there's a reason why that, 50 some dollars, 100 some dollars, 200, $300 come out of your bank account every month. Why write life with Eldercare, right? So one, because we're Eldercare and we're going to make sure we take care of you. But amazing agent service, custom marketing pieces, over the phone scripts, quoting tools, top commissions, marketing assistance, all the things that an independent agent needs to facilitate a success on a day-to-day basis, a week-to-week basis, a month-to-month basis. You need a team behind you. We're here. That's what we do. That's why I'm sitting here talking, right? That's why I'm revisiting. That's why we're stepping back a little bit and saying, hey, look, we know that there's agents out there that are just starting out. We know that there's agents out there that maybe haven't written life business. We know that there's agents out there that maybe are a little tense of going to the annuity side. Maybe they've got a slew of people that they really want to talk to. We've developed processes and softwares and things and all these things, right? But it honestly doesn't mean anything if you don't contact us, right? If you don't allow us to help you, if you don't give us that opportunity so we can show you kind of what Eldercare is all about, right? You guys see our webinars. We're here. We want to make sure that you're well educated. But all of that stuff doesn't matter if you guys don't have someone that you can speak to, have a conversation with. I think we just recently put out all of our information for like some of our direct lines and things like that. Like we want to make sure you guys going into AEP and going into this kind of busier time of the year, right, that you have everything that you need. So I see a lot of people on that I've dealt with, I've talked to personally. We've laughed, chuckled. You've been annoyed by something. Maybe you didn't get something. Maybe things are off. But the big thing for us is just making sure again that we're cultivating that relationship and that we're always making sure that we're following up. We're having conversations. Hey, did this happen for you? Hey, did that happen? Sorry, we didn't get that. Let's get to the next one. Hey, we've got this available. Hey, there's always something going on. But it's so important that we personalize that to the individuals that we talk to. So again, I'm going to wrap this up because I could go into a TED talk and all that good stuff any day, right? Any drop of a moment if I'm interested in it. So again, first and foremost, thank you for attending. Thank you for showing up to these things. Thanks for being involved. Again, thanks for doing business with us. We really appreciate everything. So I don't have any comments, which means I maybe did pretty good. No, I'm sure you guys will tell me. So there's a link before I leave. There's a link in the comment for the life insurance licensing and how it varies per state. So if you're on Zoom, it's on there. If you're on Facebook, it's in the comments, I believe it is. But nevertheless, we're trying to make sure you guys are ready to go. You guys know what the expectations are for these carriers and things like that. But furthermore, just making sure that we revisit on some of those basic topics. So again, thank you guys for attending. Hi, Miss Cynthia. Appreciate you guys attending again. So thank you. And you guys have a wonderful day. And I'm sure I will talk to some of you guys directly in a little bit. But again, thank you for attending our webinar and have a great day.